Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So today's video is actually a speed paint, which it's been a long time since I've done one. I think I've just been uploading sort of studio diaries and vlogs for the past couple of months, and I wanted to change it up and get back to making actual art videos. So the piece that I'm drawing today is a piece of fan art for Splatoon 2, which is a Nintendo game for the Nintendo Switch, which probably a lot of you know already. But I actually find this game really inspiring, especially with the backgrounds and the fashion items that you can get for your characters. I don't know what it is, this game just makes me really happy. So with the fan art though, I know I wanted to do something different rather than just drawing, say, a piece of character art. I really wanted to try and have a go at drawing one of the backgrounds, and one of the things that I really liked the look of was the actual van that's in the main lobby of the game. I just really love the design of it. It's kind of strange to say I like the design of the van, but I don't know what it is. It's just like a really happy bright yellow, and it just looked really interesting to draw, and I know I really want to push myself to try new backgrounds and vehicles and all these things that I don't normally draw. So as I actually really enjoy drawing backgrounds, it's just something I want to be really good at, and I think I've mentioned it in quite a few other videos. And the reason I keep mentioning it is because I'm trying to drive it home in my own brain, is that it's more or less me keep telling myself, don't be afraid of drawing, just do it, don't be afraid of the pen and the pencil and the paint, just get it all out and go wild, be free. The only trouble is I think that fear has got to quite a critical stage in my head, as this sketch, the actual sketch of this truck, has been sat on my pegboard for absolutely ages. It's only just recently I got the courage to actually pick it up and ink it, and even then I was so scared of like getting the inking wrong. I had all these sheets of practice paper where I was just drawing cross hatches and squiggles, trying to warm up my hand to make sure I didn't muck up the line art. But even then, the line art of this is actually quite shaky. I did really struggle with the straight lines and everything, and I think in some places I was a bit too heavy-handed, and others I was too light, and therefore the pen got really shaky in my hand. With the overall effect of this piece, I'm actually really happy with the line art. I feel it came out quite nicely, and I wanted to try something new with a sepia line art, where I tried to make my line art much softer, as I feel I usually go for a more bold black approach to my line art that looks more cartoony, where I still wanted to keep the illustrated aspect of this, but I wanted to just give it that softer touch. It's a difficult decision because sometimes it feels like I rely on my line art too much for my drawings, and at the same time I really want to focus on my line art and make it something that is specifically mine, you know, have my own style when it comes to line art. I would like to try and experiment more and try and push myself to do pictures without relying so much on it, but at the same time I'm so afraid to let go, because it does feel like a sort of safety barrier when it comes to painting, especially with watercolour, as watercolour is quite a flowy, free medium, and I'm not used to that. I like to have quite a lot of control over my pictures. Talking about pictures as well, I'd really like to carry on making backgrounds like this, especially with more scenes from Splatoon 2. I'd quite like to do the shops that are featured in the game and the other buildings, as cityscapes are quite daunting, and I'm quite excited to try drawing them though, so I feel like it's a good excuse to do some fan art, but at the same time I'll be learning something as well when I'm drawing. Specifically, I'd really like to draw a part of one of the Salmon Run maps. I'm not sure which one it is, but there's sort of this houseboat with all flowers growing on it, or greenery, and it looks really interesting. It's like floating in the middle of the water, and I'd really like to try drawing something like that, as well as drawing water, and painting water is quite difficult as well. But I'm really looking forward to doing more stuff like that, and I hope you'll be interested in watching it. I will try and carry on filming. I know I promise this in every single video and I talk about it a lot, but I do want to try and maybe create a buffer of videos first instead of putting them out as I make them. It might be something to consider, or maybe it's best to just put them out when I make them. So onto the actual painting now, which is probably the most exciting part. Before I actually started painting, I had planned out the colours digitally because I knew I had a very specific atmosphere that I wanted to portray in this picture. I sort of wanted this dawn, dusk kind of sky where it's kind of like this nice peachy pink, and I was going all through my colours seeing which one would be right, and I finally found the right one. It's a watercolour that I cannot pronounce, it's so difficult to pronounce, but it's something like Quinacridone Red. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's the one I bought from Fanart in a tiny little tube, and it has become one of my favourite colours. It's a colour I originally found very grainy and granulated. There were loads of little bits that came off it, but I eventually found a way around it, and it lay on the paper quite nicely actually, which surprised me. I got quite a smooth wash from it. So I think it was just a matter of putting a very little bit of paint on at a time and making sure it was very well watered. I also wanted to experiment more with the shadows that I use, as sometimes I feel my watercolours can be a bit flat and not have a lot of depth, as watercolour seems to dry a lot lighter than when you first initially put it down. So for the colours, for the shadows, I chose some dark purples and blues, and I wanted to put some greens in there and some pinks and yellow, and I was getting very worried it would be too many colours, because sometimes if you don't stick with a limited palette you can go overboard and the colours are too clashing with each other. But I think this actually worked out really well. I'm really happy with it. I usually don't go for so many colours. I usually try to keep it to maybe 3 or 4 and mix them very well with each other, but with this one I think I went for probably 7 total different colours. And if you are wondering what paints I'm using the Winsor & Newton travel set and some I picked up in Fanart, which were the professional grade I think, which is that nice pink you see for the sky. As for the colours, I'm obviously using the Quinacridone Red. I still can't pronounce it. I'm using Payne's Grey for a lot of the road and all the metal parts of the van and the buildings. I'm using Cerulean Blue, Viridian Green, and then quite a few colours from the Winsor & Newton travel set, which I'm sorry but I don't know the names of them. So I'm not really quite sure what else to talk about. This is quite a long speed paint I think, and I normally script out what I'm going to say or the topic of those videos, but I just really can't think of anything to say or anything to talk about. I feel a lot of stuff has already been covered, and I think that's actually contributed to me not making videos. It does feel like everything has been done before or said before, and I do know everyone's got their own view on these things. Everyone can add something unique to the same subject, but I I still have difficulty trying to find my own voice in this great big sea of creativity. And I know I've said that before as well. I know I talk about this a lot, but it is just so difficult, it feels, to just make something your own or make something for yourself. I know I've been struggling a lot with that lately. It's just enjoying art for art again. I know I do class this as work, and it does have to be work, and I can't always be drawing what I want to draw, but sometimes it feels like I just need to disappear into my own little world again and just do what I want to do. I feel a lot of the stuff I have to make either has to be sellable or likeable, and I feel like I've really lost the vision that I originally had in mind for where I was going and what I was going to do with myself and my artwork. I know I really want to start work on my comic again, and thankfully people do actually like that, you know. And then I feel I'm disappointing them when I can't bring myself to work on it because people actually like that and I'm not working on it. I don't know, it's just, it feels difficult. If I do something I want to do, it feels like I'm being selfish, but at the same time, if I don't do what I want to do, I'm not happy with what I create in the end. It's very difficult. I do feel like there's a lot of art trends, and if you don't follow those trends, then you don't get noticed as much, but I know it's not all about getting noticed, but it helps get your artwork out there and give yourself a name. But it feels like I haven't got anything to my name. Everything is inspired by other people or games or books or TV shows. I'm not sure where I'm going. I do feel a lot better than I have talked about in other videos. I feel a lot better. I think I'm just sort of in this experimental stage where I'm not sure what I want to do. I know I definitely want to continue comics and stories, and I definitely want to continue doing paintings like this where it's more background and less character art. I do enjoy character art, but I feel it's not for me. I feel like characters have to be like in an interesting environment, or the characters themselves have to be interesting, not just humans or elves. Because I noticed that's something I get really angry with TV shows. They'll introduce this like alien race or species or like a fantasy thing, and it's just humans with maybe pointed ears, and sometimes not even that. At this point I started using a hair clips to hold down my drawing, as I don't have any bulldog clips, and I really wanted to be able to paint to the edges of my paper. That's why I didn't tape it down. I know it's probably not the best thing to use, but it did the job quite well actually. Back to talking about things that are sellable. I don't want you to think that I am ever ungrateful for all that you have given me, all the subscribers and the comments, saying that you miss me, that you'll wait for my videos. They are so kind and so supportive, and I am very, very grateful. I don't want you to ever think that I am not grateful, because with just you doing this, I've been able to make YouTube a source of income, which I would have never thought would happen. I'm amazed. And the fact that people have bought my comics and my prints and my stickers, it does really amaze me, so thank you so much for that. And I think that's the reason I feel so guilty when I don't make anything. It feels like I'm letting you down. I don't want to let you down. I want to make you proud because you've stuck with me for so long. And I wanna make you proud. Yeah, so many of you are so supportive with me changing my style or making different creative decisions that I'm always worried that they will be received negatively, but a lot of you have just been so kind and supportive, and I can't get over it. I know I've probably mentioned it a lot, and I know I keep repeating a lot of things that I've mentioned in other videos, but I have made nearly over 100 videos now, and I do feel like I'm repeating myself, so I am sorry about that. That's the reason I was taking a break, is I'm hoping to kind of get some new things to talk about. So we're getting close to the end of the video, and I will just share my final thoughts on this picture, and I will say I am actually really happy with it. I was very worried and very daunted with the colour scheme that I had chosen and all the shadows that I intended to put in this drawing, but I feel it did work overall, and I'm really happy with it. I feel especially proud because it's like perspective and vehicles and buildings. It's all stuff that I've been way too afraid to sit down and draw, but I feel it worked out. I'm especially in love with this colour scheme. I did have somebody mention that I do tend to use a lot of purples and pinks and blues in my work, and I will try and change it up, but with this one I'm just really happy with it. I like it, that's all I can say. So I really hope you enjoyed the video. I did try to make this one more interesting with the visuals at the beginning, but also I kind of wanted to give this video a more calm feel. I normally plan out what I'm going to say in a video, but with this one I've just kind of rambled on, so hopefully it wasn't too annoying to listen to. And so with that I will say goodbye, and hopefully I will see you all next time. Bye bye.